All right, music fans, welcome back. It is Dave, the Real Music Observer, observing real music in real time for real people, just like you right there, and yours truly right here. Well, big news, one of the original British invasion bands, the Kinks, have decided that they want to get back together again, and that deserves a holy crap Batman. Why? Why, you say? Because the Kinks, one of my favorite, underrated, underappreciated, somewhat misunderstood rock and roll bands of all time. And, by the way, an endless source of cover material for other bands like Van Halen when they couldn't come up with an idea, hey, let's go record a Kinks song. You know? Where have all the good times gone? Girl, you really got me, just to name two that I could think of right off the top of my head. The Kinks were responsible for this hard rock, power pop type sound, garage rock in the 60s, sophisticated musings in the 70s, more direct, in-your-face type music in the 80s. And then, of course, the 90s come along, and the band gets shipwrecked like so many other groups, but adding fuel to that shipwreck was the fact that Dave and Ray Davies don't really see eye to eye on pretty much anything. A lot of creative tension there, which of course works well until you decide you're going to go out on tour or you're going to record some new music and one guy doesn't agree with the other guy. But in the early days, that was the formula. These two gentlemen are very smart, very talented, and of course they are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is much deserved. But Ray Davies says he's got a whole bunch of material, and that material needs to be recorded, and what better way to record those songs than with the rest of his bandmates in the Kinks. Now, certain members of the Kinks are still here on planet Earth. I think at least one of them has passed on. So it's going to be interesting to see and hear what this is. I mean, everybody is well into their 70s now. I believe both members of the Kinks, both Ray and Dave Davies, have cited Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones as their inspiration as to why they wanted to get back on the horse or to turn this old car engine over again. Look, I'm a huge fan of the Kinks. Again, they're one of the most underrated, underappreciated, misunderstood groups probably ever. Some of my favorite Kinks music happens in the late 70s and the early 80s. Tunes like Low Budget and Destroyer and Around the Dial. I mean, these things are they're just awesome. I mean, I always loved the fact that the Kinks could kind of adapt to the decade that they were in, but still retain their kinkiness, if you will. So even the MCA stuff that came along later in the 80s, big fan of the tune Lost and Found. One of my favorite Kinks tunes of all time. At that point, MCA, the record label Graveyard, definitely under-promoted this amazing band. Yeah, we'll sign you guys, but, you know, don't expect us to do a lot. It's just, there's a tune called Do It Again by the Kinks. It was, I think, their last album with Arista Records on the album called Word of Mouth. One of my all-time favorite Kinks tunes that doesn't get any radio airplay today. Go back and listen to that one and do a holy crap Batman, because number one, you probably forgot the song, and number two, it's just a classic power rock Kinks riff, and it should be part of classic rock radio today, but sadly it is not. So, the Kinks back together again, new material coming, hopefully a tour, maybe a mini tour like the Stones did. Can the boys still do it? We shall find out, won't we? But I'm pretty jazzed about the Kinks getting back together again. I'm Dave. Don't forget to support me over on Patreon. There's a little link here on the top of the Real Music Observer page. Just click on that link and it will take you over to Patreon, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I also have t-shirts. I'm going to sell them, so if you're interested in a t-shirt, shoot me a message over on Facebook or Twitter, and we'll see what we can do for you over there. All right, I'm done. I'll be back soon. We'll see you then.